think about you are placing them into a home. Like, let's just say you have 10 floor plans. How do you narrow them down into the one or two plans that that suits their needs? Another good reason to reach out to people is if prices have gone up, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So you can call that buyer back and let them know, hey, just wanted to let you know, the home next to you, it's the last home available. It's exactly, I know it's a mirror image, but the prices have increased. Just wanted to let you know that you've already made money.
That would make me feel so good.
Good morning. I'm Jenny Woon.
I'm Toni Singh.
Welcome back to our podcast In the House.
Thanks for being here.
Yes. We have, it's just going to be me and Toni today. And
I mean, aren't you guys in for a treat?
we're going to talk about mastering the demonstration in a display home.
And friends, who better than to answer my questions than Ms. Jenny Woon herself? She is a rock star on all things marketing and development site pre-sale selling. So I'm going to ask her a lot of these questions for you so that you can learn and add these tips and skills to your repertoire.
What I'm noticing is that there's tons of resale realtors that are getting into project sales, and even project sales representatives who are brand new, or maybe they're just feeling complacent. They have their routine, but there's so much more information that maybe you're not aware of that you're doing. So body language, where you're standing, how you're demonstrating, what you're talking about. So that's why I wanted to talk about this.
And I want to add something to you before we get into the nitty gritty. I remember from my days of starting out in pre-sale on those development sites, there's so much information that it actually, depending on how you present it to a buyer, it can affect their ability to see themselves in the home and want to purchase your guys' product versus the one down the street, because you're competing against other developments as well.
So true.
So there's a specific way in which to present the information and communicate with the people coming through the sales center in order to maximize your own value and the ability for your developer to sell out.
So a couple of keywords that when we plan the flow of traffic through the sales center into the trap.
Yeah.
The trap, which is making sure that the potential buyers don't escape without coming through back into the sales center again.
Yeah.
So those are really important because there's certain focal points, and that's why there's so much planning that goes into the presentation centers.
I mean, all of the presentation centers I've been to are extremely beautiful. And I would agree. I think there was only one center one time where it didn't lead them back into the main area. That was an extreme miss. So we're talking right now a little bit about, I guess, setting up the flow of traffic to make sure that you're bringing the buyers back through. But let's talk about the main focal points, or how do you actually prepare it then in your world? Like, what are you doing to maximize your sales team's ability to close on a contract?
Okay, so let's back up a little bit.
Sure.
As soon as someone parks their car and approaches and walks towards the
entrance,
the presentation center, the entrance. So to me, what a really nice experience would be someone who can listen to some outdoor music, lighting along the pathways if it's dark out, but also clear signage on how to park and where the entrance to the sales center is.
How important is it for you guys to have parking on site, like easily accessible into the sales building?
I think it's a combination of just making sure that it's, number one, very important, because you don't want someone to rush out of there because they have to continue paying for parking.
Yeah.
But also not get towed if it's
that happened to me yesterday.
Not get towed if they're in rush hour, parking. But also the ease of, like, let's just say that there's somebody who requires a handicap stall. who has difficulty getting in and out because they have a disability to go into the sales center. So even if there's stairs to lead up to the front door, if there's a ramp available for them.
Very important
So
consideration.
these are all really good, that you need to think about. Another thing I want to mention as well is during grand openings or realtor events, there's typically like a valet available. So that way,
That's nice.
yeah, that way the buyers and potential, like the agents, don't have to worry about trying to drive around for parking because there's a whole bunch of realtors that are at that event.
So just before we get into the other information, and we're still talking about setup and flow and signage and exposure, those kinds of things. When you're working on the flow of, like, let's say you walk in, there's a sales desk or something, and the salespeople are there to greet you. And then maybe perhaps you go inside and you're looking at the overall master plan community, and you're looking at some of the floor plans before you go potentially into the, what do I want to say?
display
Yeah,
homes?
the display home. Thank you. When you're setting up the flow, how are you doing that? Are you going through it with your builder or developer client? And are you doing it in AutoCAD, or does it happen after? Is it a consultation and then they just kind of...
No, it's all through AutoCAD.
Yeah,
because
okay.
the space hasn't been created yet.
Perfect.
And so even like the front desk hasn't been created. Everything is done through AutoCAD, even to the height of the signage and the graphics and where are they located, what's the material made out of, what is the lighting, like where are the spotlights going to be happening. So it's all very well thought out. Is there going to be seating at the front? Is there going to be an umbrella stand at the front? What is the height of the registration desk? What is the height of the working desk behind the registration desk? What are the materials being used? So all of that has a really big effect on the first impression. Number one thing is my pet peeve,
What is
no lunch and coffee cups at the front desk.
Yeah, for sure. It's cluttery. It's not
Very
the right,
cluttered.
vibe. What about contract signing rooms?
Yes. So very good question. So I often find that most developers like it to be glass.
Yeah.
Because then you
can see people
you
writing
can't- Yeah,
contracts.
you can see people, but you can't hear what they're saying.
For sure.
So that has been probably, like minimum one is available in the sales center. And there's, obviously overflow. So what happens during overflow is maybe the developer may rent extra tables and high tops or chairs, and they space out all the writing tables.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Makes sense. So let's assume then, okay, we've got the proper flow of the sales center. The signage is awesome and on point. There's parking. It looks beautiful.
Yes.
So what steps would you want to talk about next? Just in terms of, maybe we're not even presenting yet to a prospective buyer. Maybe we're talking about the team or something, or how to greet somebody.
Let's talk about outfits.
Let's talk about outfits.
Okay, so I've worked with developers where they're very adamant about wearing a certain brand. So they want a particular gray tone to that season, or a black color to that season. And they would actually pick the type of dresses that you can wear, the type of blouses you can wear. In fact, I had one that was frilly. Like it was like French style, like in the middle.
Oh.
And it was like purchased from either Banana Republic or something like that.
I can't picture you in a frilly top like that.
I mean, I was in my 20s, so I could wear everything that I wore looked good at that time, because I could get away with everything.
It still does, but okay.
But I got in trouble for that because it didn't match the sophistication, I guess, or the minimalistic look.
I mean, then they should specify that outright, right? This is the dress code. This is what we would like you to wear. I remember when I was on Grand Central, which was my first project in, I think it was 2010, when I first got into the industry. The only requirement for that site was that we were not business casual, but business attire.
Yeah.
And so there was a bit more flexibility there. But I get it. Some developers might want you to have a certain dress code. And I would imagine that it's set out in the beginning so that you guys would know.
Exactly. Yep.
Are you noticing then with a lot of your clients, are they still wanting more business attire, or have they changed in the way that it's okay to be more casual?
Yeah, business casual is okay. I think it really depends on the audience. So if you're selling high-end luxury downtown, then obviously you should kind of complement
On brand with that.
target market.
Totally.
If you're selling East Vancouver and the buyers are a bit more casual, I would be intimidated by talking to someone
Yeah,
who's
business casual. They don't
like
want to talk to a
suit,
stuffy
right?
suit.
Yeah. So I think you just have to read the audience, and so does the developer. Name tags are always nice as well, that are branded. And at the front desk, have all the business cards available to take.
Well, let's say that you have, we're not talking about a launch right now. We're just talking about a regular
Tempo sales is what we call
tempo
it.
sales.
Mhm.
And you have a buyer come in. How does your front staff deal with getting them to like, one, acknowledging them, and then two, getting them to fill out the intake form?
Yeah. So we say, welcome to sales center. I think in our industry, maybe it's just because I've been in this for so long.
Mhm.
I've never had, like, maybe in the past decade, have anybody said, no, I don't want to sign in.
Yeah.
I think they're just so used to it now
Sign.
by giving the information, especially during COVID when it was requirement to have people sign in just for tracking reasons. Yeah, I mean, you had to sign in at restaurants, you had to sign in at the clinics, you had to sign, so I think people were kind of used to that. I would also say that we've, back when I started, it was like a postcard size where you fill in your name. And the questions were actually, what is your age range? What is your income level? What are you looking for? And now through, I guess, algorithms and through just nowadays, like everybody's using an iPad to register, the less questions you ask, the more accurate the information will be.
Yeah.
So the main questions would be, what's your first and last name, your email, not even a phone number, actually, but also the source, like where do they come in? So that way we can track where
they're,
the lead
exactly.
gen is
That makes
coming from.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say then you've had them successfully fill out the form. The next steps would be getting them through the presentation center and properly presenting, I guess it's the project overall, before you even get to what do I want to say, the actual floor plan that they'd be interested in. So what's the process there? Like, what are your recommendations as someone that's so sage in this portion of the industry?
Well, my opening line is, have you gone through our website, or how did you hear about us? Or the question would be, have you gone through the website yet to take a look at what you're interested in? So then I understand where my conversation starts. Is it, they're going to tell me up front, are they interested in a 2-bedroom? Yeah, we looked at the B1, B2, B3 plan. We're interested in this one. And so I already know that, okay, they've done their homework and I can skip through all the boring things. The most important thing is not to sound monotonous, or like, it's really hard to keep people's interest level at peak all the time, only because there's just so much distractions. But at the same time, that they're only retaining so much information. So if you can get down to exactly what they're looking for right away, maybe, and even assess the type of personality they have. Are they the type of person who just really wants information only? And that, you and I know they're probably more like based on the disc, like a director who really wants just information, and they don't need to be coddled. They don't need to socialize or anything. They're just there to get information. Then, walking through the display center, you kind of already have a pre-planned flow of what comes first. So typically, you would see the scale model first. First and foremost. And I think that just gives a full, like, dimensional, more than a 2-dimensional, but also conceptualizes, like, visually puts that into perspective of direction, of how the community is going to visually look like. But also there's lots of, like, trees and cars and people and balconies that are on that scale model. So it does give people a good perspective of scale.
Yeah, for sure. Because you're basically buying the paper for it, right?
Totally. Exactly.
Okay, let's give an example then. So say, for example, you're on a project. I imagine there's variance here because it would change depending on the project. But in your mind, what are the 3 most important things to highlight given a specific project? Like, are you always, let me ask it better. Are you always painting a lifestyle picture for them so that they can envision themselves in this community, in this location?
Mhm.
Or is it more about it's not really about what the specific unit would give back to them, right? It's more so the visionary behind it. So how are you
Mhm.
creating that with the buyers that are coming through a display
Mhm.
home?
Yeah, so most presentation centers are thoughtfully put together with a storyboard. So there's maybe actors or actresses or like models
Mm-hmm.
who play part of that role on the walls,
Yeah.
on the graphics, as to how they're enjoying the neighborhood, how they're enjoying the parks. Even at my current site, Bailey, we actually have the transit, the walk score and the transit score right on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But even from one street all the way up to like a couple of blocks up towards King Ed, we actually took photos of the storefronts that
Yeah, it's
are
awesome.
along Main Street. And so that gives you a visual of like you strolling along Main
Maybe with your
Street
dog.
with your dog, with your partner, and then you're hitting some of the shopping, like the boutique stores. Maybe you're gonna hit like a happy hour
Mm-hmm.
session, and then go to dinner right next door. So it allows you to kind of unfold. Okay, what does a day look like living in that neighborhood?
For sure. Is there a specific rule as to how many landmarks within a certain vicinity geographically you would want to include in a brochure or something? Like,
Good
yeah,
question. I would say, hmm, I think every developer is different and every designer is different.
yeah,
But I would say I would hit. So the legend would include schools, parks,
perfect.
amenities.
Community center,
Yeah,
maybe,
community
yeah.
center. The what else would they include?
Library, that's all looped
The
in
community
together, but
centers.
it's
Yeah,
important.
yeah. And so also it can include bus routes. So like a dotted
Hmm.
line bus route. It could include like
Or
bike
bikes and
routes.
trails, yeah.
So I don't know if there's like a 15-kilometer radius or 10-kilometer radius rule, but I would say most people would point out like location. So if you ask me the three things that you're going to highlight as you're walking through the presentation center,
Yeah,
number one is the location. So
perfect.
what makes that location so different and unique, and why would someone want to move to that neighborhood?
Hmm.
Someone could already live in the neighborhood and they want to stay in that neighborhood. And secondly, someone who's from White Rock, but they want to move to Mount Pleasant, but they don't know what's around.
Hmm.
So that storyboard already tells them what's around. Secondly, color schemes. So
Hmm.
I feel like when you're buying a pre-sale, part of that experience is that you get to choose your color scheme.
Hmm.
So there's typically 2 to 3 that you can choose from. And part of the fun part of my job is I get to name the color boards.
Uh,
So right now at Bailey, we
yeah.
have first base and second base, which are odd names
Well,
for
because you're near Nat Bailey
palette boards.
Stadium, though,
Yes,
right?
yeah. But there's like dark and light,
Yeah.
or they could be called spring and summer, or we could call it mocha and I don't know, mocha and latte, like
Ooh, I
for
like
dark
it.
and light, right?
Yeah.
So that's super fun. So the color scheme. And then third thing to me to include would be who the developer is, because we work in an industry where your reputation and credibility is so important, especially since you're doing like after service care
Yes.
after you move in. And having a little bit of a history about the developer really does kind of solidify who you're buying from, what the warranty package is, how credible they are in the business. Are they long-standing? 10 years down the road when you need something and there's a warranty issue, are they
Hmm.
still going to be around?
Yeah.
So having a little bit of information about the developer, of course on the website, but even just so, past history of all the projects that they've worked on,
Hmm.
like little pictures or maybe stories about some of the maybe testimonials about some of the owners
Hmm.
is really helpful. So yeah, include that.
Just in relation to that, though, which, yeah, I think it's super important because if you have a client that would like to live in a certain community, but perhaps it's the developer's first project, that might be a bit scary for them.
Hmm.
Um, how important is it to highlight the developer, builder, and architect information? Like, do you often have developers that are newer partnering with, I don't know, someone that's highly accredited and longstanding in the business as an architect? They're very well known because
Hmm.
they'd be paired side by side.
Hmm. It's often like in the brochure and on the wall, where they do highlight the architect, they do highlight the construction company that they're hiring, the contractor that they're hiring. So if they're a first-time builder, I would say, what kind of background do they have? Do they work for another builder? And so, for example, First Track, they don't have too much of a record at the moment, but all the three partners came from other developers as well. And so it's a bit easier to say you have experience that way because you have worked for big builders,
For sure.
even though their name for this particular one project is brand new.
So what I'm hearing throughout this process, though, it's really creating consumer confidence, right? Each of these steps.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it builds a picture for them how they will live in the home. And are they going to be proud of the home that they're going to live in? Oh, wow, I live in a BOSA building. Oh, wow, I live in. And so by sharing this experience from purchasing all the way to key turnover to even follow-ups for deficiencies is a huge impact to whether or not you're going to get a good review, whether you're not going to get a good referral, a testimonial, because one little Reddit comment can blow up, right? And we've seen that in our industry.
What else would you like to touch on then right now? Just we had people basically through the presentation center highlighting the lifestyle, what basically the buyer's after in terms of how is it going to work for their everyday life. What other key points do you think are really important in the development and marketing sales process for a new project?
On the sales side would be the dialogue. So
Let's talk
having
about that.
trained salespeople who ask the right questions that are open-ended, and you're really just qualifying them. Think about you are placing them into a home. Like, let's just say you have 10 floor plans. How do you narrow them down into the one or two plans that that suits their needs? So asking open-ended questions about how they currently live in their home, who's going to live in this home, and how long they're going to live in this home. What are their most favorite parts in the home?
Do you want to do a role play right now?
Sure.
Okay, I'm the buyer.
Okay.
You're the salesperson.
Okay. Welcome to our sales center. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'm really excited to come through and see what you guys have here.
Oh, good. Well, how did you hear about us?
I think I saw an article about you in the Vancouver Sun.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
That was a great piece. We actually had so many comments about that. People have come in, even with the article, and they were really impressed, even in person, what they saw. They really liked.
Well, we saw it, so we thought we would come and check you out.
Okay. Where do you live now?
I'm actually located in North Burnaby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so are you looking for yourself? Like, you saw it in the Vancouver Sun. And so what are you, what's your plans right now for where you live?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking that we're wanting to downsize. We're wanting to downsize. We'd like to be close to more walkable restaurants, cafes, coffee shops, those kinds of things. Where we are right now, it's a bit more of a walk or a drive. So we're wanting to have everything basically at our fingertips.
Right. So how long have you been in your house?
About 15 years.
Oh, 15 years.
Yeah.
So did you have family there? Did you?
Yeah, we had family in the area, so it just made sense for us to be in Burnaby. But we're kind of excited, I guess, to maybe have a Vancouver address now.
Awesome. Well, why don't I take you through? Did you get a chance to kind of get a sneak peek of some of the floor plans online or anything?
Not really, but it would be my husband and myself and our one child moving in with us. So I think do you have 3 bedrooms that are still available?
We do have 3 bedrooms. So what like in your house at the moment, what are the most important parts of your home where you love to kind of gather and entertain and hang out with your family?
I would say the main living space is the heart of our home. We like to cook meals together and then eat together. And the reason we would need a 3-bedroom is because I need 1 bedroom for, like I had said, we have a child, 1 bedroom for us, and then the 3rd bedroom would be an office.
Okay. And so Are you finding that you want to downsize, but you want to be close to a lot of the amenities and everything like that? We do have 3 bedrooms available. What's your timing looking like when you want to move?
We're not in a rush. I would say within the next 6 months to 12 months, we would want to be maybe moved in.
Okay.
But if it was going to take longer, we'd just stay in our home longer.
Okay.
So it's not a big deal.
Okay. So, I mean, our homes will be done in about 18 months.
Okay.
That's okay.
So we could stay in our house and then wait for completion.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about it is that it gives you time to ride out the market. Right now, there is a good, in our market, it seems like there's not enough inventory. And so what we're seeing right now is prices rising, and that could be working in your favor. At the same time, it could help you as well plan out what you need to downsize, what's most important to keep.
For sure.
But our 3 bedrooms, they do range in sizes. So we have 900 square feet all the way up to 1,200 square feet. I know it's a little bit hard to kind of visualize what 900 is compared to 1,200, but I do have some floor plans and a couple of virtual tours if you're interested in going through that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So now we're going to go through the floor plans online and also the virtual tours on our TV.
And then from there?
Yes. From there, we have a display home. It's not exactly a 3 bedroom, but I would love to show you some of the finishings. And so your space right now, how would you describe it? If it was placed in a magazine, what category would you be placed in terms of styling?
Oh, that is such a good question. I would say it's a balance between classical and minimal. Is that what you're kind of asking? Like classical and Scandinavian, maybe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very opposite.
Yeah. So there, you have to blend it in a little bit. But I guess we are more minimalist. So as long as it's, clean, open, serves the purpose, and it's in the area that we can see ourselves living in, then that would be important.
Well, one of the fantastic things is that we do have a minimal look to our kitchens, but we also have upgrade packages available where you can add some character into some of the spaces.
Okay.
Before we get into that, though, let's look at all of the different floor plans.
Okay.
But also we have a floor plan, like a display home that you can actually go through the kitchen. You can walk through the bedrooms.
So we're walking through the display home. Jenny, this is a really nice home. I love the finishings. I'm thinking, though, because this is on the smaller side, that the floor plan closer to 1,200 square feet is going to work better.
Good. Okay. Well, we only have one available on that one. Would you be interested in me showing you where it's located on the scale model?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So we go to the scale model. So it's actually located on the 4th floor on the northeast corner. And why this particular home, the reason why the developer had placed this particular floor plan on this corner is because we wanted to ensure that we maximized all the lighting. And so on this direction, you actually don't have anything that you're facing. It actually faces onto an open park. And there's no plans to build or rezone this park area.
We really like sunlight as well. Is this a good location for that?
So being on a northeast corner, you get ample morning sun.
Perfect.
Yeah. And one of the things is having floor to ceiling windows, you'll get daylight all the time. And the great thing about it is that it's not direct sunlight.
Okay.
Sometimes direct sunlight is a little bit too warm.
Like southwest is hot, right?
Southwest, you'll get sun all day long. And sometimes it can be uncomfortable in a home. I'm not sure how it is in your home. Do you have AC or do you have?
We have a portable unit, only for the hot days in the summertime. But we're actually east facing as well.
Okay.
At the front. And then, so this could work. We like the natural light.
Right. So it's basically the same direction as what you have at the moment. So it's not too warm, not too cold. And I want to add that there's a cross breeze. Because you're a corner home, you can open the windows on one end, open the patio doors on another, and there's actually a nice breeze that goes through.
That sounds lovely. I'm really envisioning myself in this home right now. I love what you did there, though, because I actually felt myself inside the home with the
doors and windows open.
And then I felt the cross breeze.
Oh, great.
So good job.
Thank you. So how do you feel about this floor plan?
Yeah, I think that the floor plan could work. How much is this unit and how does the deposit structure work?
The home itself is 1,499,900 plus GST.
Mm-hmm.
The deposit is actually really simple. After you review the agreement, and everything works out with you on the financing end, and by the way, we do hold rates for 18 months, so
Oh,
that's
wow.
the great benefit because there is talk about the interest rates coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And so the deposit, the way it works is 5% in 7 days, 5% of the 1.5 million,
Mm-hmm.
and then 5% in 90 days,
Mm-hmm.
and then another 5% in 6 months.
Okay.
And so we're just taking a total of 15%
Okay. And spread out over those
over
periods?
the course of 6
Okay.
months.
So, and like, I don't know if this often happens, but I would imagine that if you're dealing with a type A decision maker, they'd probably say, okay, great, because I'm that person. This is the home for me. How do I proceed?
So I'm glad you want to reserve this home. Why don't we sit down right now and we can go through the agreement?
Okay.
And maybe I can start off with your photo ID.
Okay, perfect.
There you go.
Yeah, that was very well done. Excellent
You
work.
weren't hard.
Well, I've also worked in sales centers though too, so I kind of know the process a bit, but it was good because I think that this highlighted a few things that you talked about, which was one, painting the lifestyle. So we did talk about area, but also it's not just about the area. I want to know how I'm actually going to function in the home. So I said that bright natural light was important to me, and you had emphasized that that corner unit specifically was well thought out by the developer. You said that.
Mm-hmm.
And then about opening the windows, and I'm like, yeah, that would be great. I could picture myself there.
And the den has a window, so
Yeah.
you don't have to be working
This
in the
home's
dark.
still available, right? Okay, so I would consider that the on-site demonstration though, correct?
Yeah, so that would be like right in the display home. One of the things that I want to also, because we were just doing it in the studio here, is if you're getting 8 to 10 yeses throughout the demonstration. So in a way, you, the buyer, you're like, oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Yes, that would work. So you're actually working in your own mind, convincing
I've already
yourself
said
that
yes.
this is the
I've
home.
already said yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say that happens and you're saying, okay, 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 yeses. Then would you go on to the next phase, which is, I mean, I was the one in that scenario who offered to buy it. But let's assume that I didn't and I had given you the 8 to 10 yeses. Then would you, at that point, would you say, hey, it sounds like maybe this could be a great fit for you and your family?
Yeah, so I would absolutely have like a call to action, like a
Yes,
confirmation.
some kind of thing.
Saying that this sounds like it really suits you. It's a great community. It's close by to everything that you need, that's accessible, that's within walking distance. Have I answered all your questions, or have I attended to all your concerns? Or another way is, it sounds like you've been looking for a while right now. Do you agree that we found the right place for you? I think at the end of the day, you want to, without sounding too pushy, use a persuasive method, an influential method, rather than a sales pitch of,
for sure.
And you better take it now before someone else takes
even
it.
the fact that you said, have I answered all of your questions? Because I think that would also get into handling objections if they were going to come up, right?
Right.
So maybe let's just, before we talk about the full close, talk about handling objections. What tips do you have for our listeners today about handling objections on a pre-sale site?
Don't jump to conclusions. So a good example is I was selling a property that was close to a railroad track, and right away you think
It's going to be loud.
It's going to be loud, and but sometimes it's actually, some people love living next to a railroad track. Number one, you'll never have anybody like live close to you.
Yeah.
And secondly, some people grew up, I guess, riding the train, or maybe they have nostalgia as a kid being near the railroad tracks because that's where them and their friends played.
For sure.
So like sometimes it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
And so I would never jump to conclusions that it's a negative thing. Just like living in a high rise where there's a cemetery, like where there's like a
Yeah, I've got lots of clients that don't mind it because they're not going to build in front.
right. They're not going to build in front. They're the most peaceful
Yeah.
neighbors ever,
Yeah.
and it's always manicured.
Yeah,
Right?
that's so true.
And so, yeah, I would say, did we get that taken care of for you? Like after you've said some objections and then you are neutralizing that issue.
And reaffirming that everything is good.
Right. Did we take care of that issue for you? Did we dig?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, awesome. And anytime when you're mentioning like another community or like a competition, never, ever backstab that competition.
For sure.
I would just say, hey, that's a great community. And I've heard many great things. I've had, someone that had purchased there and they came over and they were like, their clients or their friends are still being recommended to buy here because they still want their friends to live nearby.
Yeah.
But maybe one thing that you can add is, well, we do offer a homeowners customer care program that I don't think they have that. I think everything was outsourced. So this is just a pure fact that they outsourced
exactly.
and they don't have a customer service program.
No, I like that.
And then closing, some of the closing, I guess, dialogue you can have is, I know that you've been looking for a while for your new home. Is there any concerns that you have now, or what do you like about this home so far? So those are just, again, very open-ended questions. Would you want to take this home off the market before someone else does?
Yeah,
that's a little bit more like,
it's a bit more salesy, but also it's so true. Someone else can buy it.
Another thing is, if you feel like the home is right, well, I know when I see something that's right, do you agree that it would be a mistake if somebody else took the home?
Yeah.
Right?
No, I love those.
Yeah.
So we've sold the home. The 7-day rescission period is over. But Jenny, how important is it to, I want to say, upkeep after the sale? Some people would say selling after the sell, but upkeep and client care after you've made that sale. What does that look like?
So definitely follow up the day after the keys are picked up and ask, how's everything going? Did you move in okay? Tell them about the referral program that they have. So I would leave it about a week right before the referral, after they move in, is ask them, hey, if you know of anyone that's interested as well, we still have some homes available. We have a referral program available for you and a friend that you refer.
Awesome.
It's the best way for someone to choose their neighbors. Advertising is for free, like word of mouth. Another good reason to reach out to people is if prices have gone up, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So you can call that buyer back and let them know, hey, just wanted to let you know, the home next to you, it's the last home available. It's exactly, I know it's a mirror image, but the prices have increased. Just wanted to let you know that you've already made money.
That would make me feel so good.
And I think at the end of the day, how's your move going? Just be really sincere and authentic about you.
Genuine interest.
Yeah. Wanting to make sure that they're taken care of. And is there anything else that we need to take care of for you that hasn't been taken care of?
No, that's amazing. I like the aftercare follow-up as well. So I guess the last portion of this would be, what happens in the event that, you've taken some buyers through the presentation center and they don't purchase? What would the follow-up look like on those people that have chosen at that time not to buy?
Good question. So they're entered into the CRM, and I'm always following up 24 hours, 36 hours, and then 1 week. And then they're in the system, and let's just say 2 weeks later, and maybe there's somebody else potentially interested in that same home. You're calling again if they're interested. If it's a realtor, I think the conversation will probably be a little bit more often. If they don't have a realtor, then you're calling them and just really getting them to come back and see where they're at in their home search. And I think the most important is the omnipresence is just being the first in mind, so that they don't forget about you. So maybe you just did nothing wrong. Maybe they didn't have the right decision makers at that moment. So you're going to invite the whole family back in. Maybe the parents need to come in as well because they're the bank to give the deposit. So you want to invite the family back in as well to get their support. But yeah, if they haven't made the decision to buy right on that spot, you're going to, before they leave, I'm going to follow up with you on Saturday. If you don't mind, I would love to just get some feedback to see what you think.
So I think a question that we might get from the audience is, if you have so many people obviously going through your presentation center, how do you remember each person?
Okay, so the CRM, you would write notes about what they're wearing, exactly what they talked about, the name of their kids.
Makes sense.
Maybe you saw the car that they drove, a particular, thing that they were wearing, like special shoes. But most often, you kind of remember the conversation. Like if you're a really good prober, qualifier, a person who is a relationship person, you're going to find out more than just they're interested in a 3-bedroom, that they actually have kids, that they don't want to drive anymore, that they love to go to the gym. So little things that you're going to pick up, and just some of the common interests that they have.
For sure. And yeah, those little notes could definitely jog your memory. Is there anything else that you would want to leave with our listeners for how to set themselves up for success if they're working on a pre-sale site?
Yeah. So the ABCD.
Okay. What's
It's
that?
called Above and Beyond the Call of Duty.
Oh, I love that acronym.
So customer care and follow-ups is so important. Make them feel important. Make them feel like you're genuinely interested in their lifestyle change. You're helping them make a change in their life. And I would say make a special arrangements for them to go see the home. Like if it's a hard hat tour, make them feel like it's a special arrangement, that you did a lot of work to clear the space for them to see it. Even though nobody's really allowed in that space yet because it's unfinished.
Yeah.
And before they leave, as well as my one last tip is get them to pick a home before they leave, because it feels like they're drawn to that one particular home rather than an open-ended like conversation.
Yeah, it's like anchoring them in something, right? Where they can see themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, those are really great tips. Listeners, I hope that you guys were able to pick up tidbits of Jenny's wisdom in her experience in the pre-sale marketing world and presentation center sales. If you have any questions, then you know how to reach out. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Listen to us on your favorite podcast. What is it?
Happy selling.
Yeah, happy selling.
Bye, guys.